One, two, one, two. It's working. Good morning, everyone, and hello to the people joining us online. I'm very sorry, it's an early morning. I'm very happy to welcome you here in person. We're slowly growing in size in this group right here, and there are also people gathering online. It's my great pleasure to have you with us finally for a physical event for Women4IT. It happens at the end, but I'm still very happy to see our friends, colleagues, partners in person, so it's a lovely opportunity to do so. Today is a very packed day. Also, I haven't actually introduced myself, so you don't know who's speaking to you. I'm just realizing that now. My name is Katarzyna Udała. I'm part of the Women4IT team, also the Digital Europe team, one of the partners of this initiative. Today, I'll be moderating this event a little bit for you and try to introduce and smooth all the sessions. We have a packed agenda. Could I have our agenda slide with us? We will hear from our very own Cecilia Bonnefeldt-Dale in a moment. Then we will hear from our fund operator from EA and Norway Grants, Sheena Keller. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to come today. She will join us online. After that, you will hear from our very own Women4IT team, where they will explain more about the project, about the initiative, the purpose and methodologies behind it, and the impact that we've made throughout the last 4 years of the project. Then we will break for a little bit of a coffee, and the second part of the day you will hear more about the beneficiaries of the project, so really who the project has been about, which is our Women4IT trainees. They will share some stories, they will tell you more about their experience, lessons learned and ideas, what they thought about the initiative. We'll also have one of our mentors and employers involved in the project who will talk a bit more about the initiative from her perspective. Later on, we will be very happy, that actually happens before, but we'll be very happy to host today Mrs. Temis Christofidou from DGAAC, who will tell us a bit more about the future of women in STEM from the European Commission's perspective. We will also hear from the industry, civil society, and policymaking experts to learn a bit more about where this is really going. So, of course, we're doing these great initiatives. We have so many ideas to boost, foster gender equality in technology, but these projects end at some point. So we really want to make sure that this impact thrives, and this is what they will tell you about later on. Finally, please make sure that throughout the day you stay in touch with us, you join the conversation. We are here for you to tell you things, but we also want to engage with you, want to answer your questions. We want to make sure that you communicate with us and give us your feedback. So it would be really great if you join the conversation online. We are live streaming the event through different social media channels. We'll be live tweeting from Twitter. So please join the conversation, tagging us and using the Women4IT hashtag. We will also ask for your interaction here in the room, as well as people online. Please feel free to join us on Slido. We want to hear your feedback first, engage with you a little bit more. So feel free to pull up your phones, and I'm talking to every person in the room, be it a participant, a partner. Feel free to grab your phone and give us a little bit of feedback by joining slido.com, so you can use the QR code and the hashtag Women4IT. I will give you a moment to do just that. You can scan the QR code and then access with the hashtag Women4IT. I'm very happy to see some phones up. I will give you one more moment. Great. And can we have the question? Brilliant. According to you, of course, we're here to talk about women in tech and the fostering of gender diversity in the tech sector. So why do you think we need more people in technology? I want to hear your feedback. Okay, we have people typing, and I can see already some answers. Talent shortage. More women is better for humanity. I like that one. There is, of course, a different perspective. It's a matter of equality as well. It boosts creativity. If we're different in a team, we have a more creative, more able to hide the blind spots. What else can I see? Representation in different perspectives. Without women, an important part of the workforce is left out. It's about inclusion, balance, empathy. I'm really, really, really enjoying these answers, and I'm really happy that more and more are coming in. I think we have a similar outlook of why we need more women in tech, and there is no better person to tell you more about why we think as Women4IT and Digital Europe, why we need more women in tech and why it is important on a pan-European but also local level, than our very own Cecilia Bonnefeld-Dell. Cecilia, welcome on stage, and the floor is yours.
I guess that I am the closest that you get to a tech dinosaur, a female tech dinosaur. I think I entered I entered this the tech sector in 1995. So when it's 25, I've been there for 30 years. And why? Well, I guess that I had no idea that it might not be a place for women, and I never felt that way, I would say. It is the most interesting sector in the world, and I'll get back to the why. Let me just start before the presentation to thank a few people. First of all, I want to thank my own team for driving an agenda that is extremely important to me. I've had also a close collaboration with Vestager and with Maria Gabriel, Vice President Vestager and Commissioner Gabriel on this. And it's something that I find tremendously important, not only to talk about, but to do something about. And I am a doer, I believe in real results, and I think this is exactly what we have showed with this project. Then I would like to, so Kasia, thank you so much for driving this. To everybody in my team, Helena and everybody else, thank you so much for really taking this to the next level. I want to thank EEA and the Norway Grant for funding this for 4 years. Amazing. Norway is definitely one of the countries that leads on diversity, and one of the first that actually did quotas for women at boards. And I must say myself, I don't think, I mean, I find it ridiculous that we have to make quotas, but I am no longer against it because apparently changes take too long if we don't have some kind of push for it. Then I would like to thank Mara Jakobsson from Licta. Thank you so much, and welcome back to Digital Europe in a second. That joke aside. Anyway, but thank you so much for the collaboration through many, many, many years on this agenda. And I think we can say that we did very good results. There is still a long way to go. All the partners of this project, thank you for your hard work, and all the employees who have showed their industry insights into this program. So with that, saying that I've been here nearly 30 years, I remember, I mean, if going back 30 years, I mean, Teams, everything that we do today didn't exist, right? It was still like, it was major breakthrough technology when we had floppy disks and, you know, you remember the modems that going like, when you had to connect, and sometimes it would take all night to get a connection. Today, we live in a society that's totally different, right? And the specialists in the basement coding things, you know, with socks and Coca-Cola is long gone. Tech has entered any sector. If you are a nurse, you need to use tech. And who better than a nurse can actually tell how you use technology in nursing? So how do we make sure that we get not only women in software coding, and of course also in software coding, but into the real functions of where tech is needed? Look at the health sector. Digital Europe is growing tremendously in number of companies in the health sector at the moment. Why? They are data companies. When they are looking to find vaccines for COVID, or when they are trying to locate cancer, looking at pictures, you know, they can locate breast cancer before any human eye can see this. So these are the type of solutions that we need to tell also women about. So I think for many it's still like, oh, I'm not good at math, and by the way, I don't like coding, therefore tech is not for me. But if you know that you have to have a few skills, and then you can make miracles. You can work towards, environmental changes, how to bring down CO2 emissions, how to locate rare diseases, then this is a different ballgame. Because for many women, it's about purpose in life. How do I find purpose with my job? Also for men, I'm not saying that, but traditional, we have had more men, in STEM skills, and therefore we don't have that big lack and gap in gender and really sharing this kind of ability to create the future with women. So all of us today, let's make a commitment to go just today and talk to 2 young people and tell them what tech can really do and why they need to, we say like, take the good with the bad, right? And go and learn STEM skills, go and learn coding, just sit down. There is nothing hard, there is not harder for you than it is for a young man. Just get to it. So I think that all of us, if we commit, we can have, I don't know how many people are online, but let's say we are 100 people. Then if we take 2 each, it's 200. If you commit them to talk to 2 of their friends, and then we make a movement on how to do this. I know I'm not very good at sticking to my slides, so I better go to the slides now. But I just want to tell that it really comes from my heart. And it's not always fun. Sometimes you have to learn things that are hard, but it's worth it. So please, let's do this. I maybe want to say one thing before also. 4 years is nothing. The biggest problem with skills is that we are not embedding programs like this into the educational systems. We're not embedding this into a university or going to the unions to have them embedded into their reskilling programs. So we need to have a conversation on European level, although we educate people on national level. We need to have that conversation on how we take all these great efforts and programs like this and we embed them into the established programs of the countries. If not, it will always be a drop in the sea and not really a movement that would matter for the future. I sincerely, and I discussed this with my team yesterday, I said, where's the money for the next 10 years? We don't start this program again if we don't have 10 years and we have at least 4, an advisory body with 5 governments and the commission on board. Because this is what we need to do. We simply need to embed this program into the reskilling programs and maybe into the universities, secondary schools for, making sure that we link all these programs together. Programs are good, projects are nice, but structures remain and change. So how do we do that would be my big question of the day. And I am committed to continue this if we can find funding. But I would also like a discussion on how we structure an advisory board to make sure that this is embedded long-term into the established structures. And I know that both Gabrielle and Vestager, Vestager has said, and you heard Ursula von der Leyen getting on stage saying, this is the year of the skills. Finally, we have the highest level knowing that the future will be shaped by the continent that has the right skills. Without the right skills, we don't have innovation. Without innovation, we don't have competitiveness in the world, and we will not have the changes that we need. So, this is a good time, but let's make sure that we move from project to established. Good. Let me look at the slides. Sorry, Kasia, for always going off track. So, somebody was flipping my slides. Yeah, so a bit of stats here. I mean, first of all, of course, equal chances, but it also means that a lot of women need to step up. I mean, okay, STEM skills are not that fun if you don't know what you're using them for, but if you know what you're using for them, please take that direction. We are lacking 20 million ICT specialists, and I would say more to come. The world is changing. If we look at cybersecurity, we have learned that if we take women and reskill them into cybersecurity specialists, we can detect a totally different patterns of danger. So we can see security breaches that normal non-diverse teams are unable to see. So this is not only for the sake of the women, this is also for the sake of society and for the diversity of actually protecting us. So more than 50% of companies say that they are challenged, and the biggest challenge of growth is basically the lack of digital skills. Well, why would we not take half of the population and have them into digital skills then? That would be quite silly, no? Did you know that I think it's 0.7% of the funding, investment capital for companies goes to women-led companies, or even companies with one woman in the highest management? What is this? So it shines through on two things. One, there are not enough female entrepreneurs. And I'm asking myself the why. Tech is in health, tech is in education, tech is in environmental, prevention of environmental dangers. This is all, where there's a lot of women. So how can we really foster also not only the skills, but also the ability to drive companies and make sure that we have investment going towards those companies? So, as you say here, 1 in 5 is ICT specialists. What a waste of talent. Well, of course, inclusiveness, the solutions that will be made, if they are designed only by men, for men, not a blame on men, because remember, I'm all for diversity, and I've also faced people who say like, yeah, but why do you always send a man? I said, I don't send only a man. This is about being equal. This is about equal opportunity, equal skills, and equal access. I also think that men are good for the society. I don't think humanity necessarily is not on their agenda. I do think that also a lot of men has this as their prime target to promote that. But being inclusive, of course, how would you ask a non-diverse team to understand groups that they have never maybe worked with? So for many things, this will really create much better solutions, much more diverse solutions. Personally, I have a team. So Digital Europe, we have 32 different nationalities, actually 33, I think now. We have equal men and women at all levels. We have straight and gay. We span from the age of 21 or 22 to 73. And we have people from, I think, 5 different continents. And you would think it's a master plan, but actually, it was never a plan. I don't know how we did it, but somehow it just ended up like that. I think I have the best team in the world on policy. I think we have an excellent team, and diversity does matter. So, well, what did we achieve? Great achievements. I always say to the team, like, okay, so when we walk out of here in 5 years, what have we done, right? What have we achieved? What will make us proud? And I think for all of you, thank you so much for making a concrete difference, right? Not just talk about it and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You went out there, you have re-educated 900 women. 70% of them are already in jobs, and I'm sure the rest will have a job very soon. We are in 7 countries, and I just want to say it's an amazing achievement. Amazing achievement. Why don't we triple it, double it, think big? Don't think like another 4 years and another 900. Add 2 zeros. Think big. Who are our stakeholders? Is there any government in Europe that would not love this program? I don't think so. Let's talk to them. Let's talk to the Commission, and let's scale this. Thank you so much for your great efforts. So, what happens next? Well, as I said, investment is needed. And I really am looking forward to discuss with the Commission, with the commissioners, and with governments. I hope that our partners will tap in there with funding again. And I think the great leadership that has been shown is second to none. So, let's aim for the stars. Let's aim much higher. Let's add extra zeros and make sure that this continues, because it is an absolutely amazing achievement, which makes me extremely proud to be a part of. Thank you so much, and with that, I think I will end. I'm sorry for speaking, I guess, too long, because I always do, but I will pass over to you again, Kasia. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. And it was a lovely speech. I really enjoy this idea, this notion that we think big, that we make a wave, that we reach out to other young people, and it's a kind of a snowball effect. So let's do that. Let's put our hands together. Let's make that effort. Let's add another 0 or 2 or 3. Let's do the tripling effect. Work together and make this a reality and scale it further. So I'm really excited for that to happen in the coming months, years. Let's see what we can come up with together. In the meantime, I would very much like to share with you the video that we have received from Elaine Keller from EA Norway Grants, where she's talking a bit more about our project and the great role of EA Norway Grants in sponsoring and allowing us to deliver these results. So, in front of you is Elaine Keller.
Hello, dear colleagues and partners. My name is Sheena Eileen Keller, and I work as a Senior Sector Officer at the Financial Mechanism Office, the Secretariat for the EEA and Norway Grants. It is a pleasure to greet you today, although in a digital format, at this event discussing one of the most pressing topics of our time. How can we best empower young women to reach their full potential? On behalf of the donors of the grants, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway, we in the Secretariat work for a more equal Europe, in close partnership with bilateral and transnational actors. Our Fund for Youth Employment contributes with 60.6 million euro to support sustainable and quality youth employment in Europe. Soft skills development, motivational measures, and new innovative ideas characterize the projects under the fund. The Women4IT project is an excellent example in this regard. And with partners from 9 countries, including a Norwegian expertise partner, the project that has gathered us today is truly an initiative that works to find common solutions to shared challenges. Because despite much progress in Europe, gaps in social and economic development persist. The lack of sustainable quality jobs for youth, social exclusion, and discrimination are among the threats that we are facing. And we know that some groups of youth are even more at risk of being excluded from the labor market than others. Girls and women, and especially those with a migrant, LGBTI, or Roma background, or those that have disabilities, are among the groups that are especially at risk of being excluded. In an increasingly digitalized world, there is a lack of gender diversity in both education and careers in the fields of science, technology, and engineering, as well as maths. Women4IT was created to change exactly this, because not unlocking the potential of our youth is a losing game, not only for the individual youth themselves, but for our entire societies. As this 4-year-long project is now coming to an end, it is safe to say that it has succeeded in its aim to boost the careers and economic independence of many young women across Europe. We at the Financial Mechanism Office feel privileged to have been a part of this project, and we wish all the partners and the youth that have participated a bright and fruitful future. Thank you so much for your attention.
All right, and once more, we are also extremely happy to have the EEA and Norway grants on board for this project, and we're very grateful for the funding we have received so far. Now moving to the big thing of today, the Women4IT project. What is it exactly? Why what was created? You've heard a little bit more about the impact that it's made, but now we're going to talk a bit more about the purpose, the methodologies, the impact, the way we approached the project altogether. So without further ado, Mara Jakobsson, I would love to welcome you on stage to discuss the project a little bit more in detail. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Katarzyna. It's really not easy to talk about after two brilliant speakers. So I would like to start with information So these weeks, European Commission is running campaign together with 25 member states national coalition to involve young people into ICT. The motto of the campaign is Discover your dream job in digital beyond coding. And this is exactly what the project is about. Within the project, we address the 3 challenges which have been already mentioned. It's the youth unemployment, it's the shortage of ITC specialists, and it's also the underrepresentation of women in IT. We have been really lucky to get the support of EEA and Norway grants, and we have been lucky to start the idea of the project by 9 countries, by 9 partners, which bring together excellent competencies. If you look at our partners, many of them are coordinators or members of the national digital coalitions, so they address these challenges at the national government or society and industry level. Many of the partners have been having long year experience and competence in designing digital competencies, assessing digital skills, providing trainings. But moreover, they all had experience to work with different groups, including socially disadvantaged groups, and also being able to discuss at policy level with governments, with industries and NGOs. So that made is a very good partnership, which I think is one of the success factors for the project. And if we look at our approach, then there were some principles which we defined when we started the project 4 years ago. First of all, to tell, even if we benefited different number of women employers, this project is about innovations. So the main target was to create innovative tools, innovative methodologies, how we can involve youth, especially disadvantaged youth, because here we talk about the word need, which I personally don't like, but which means not in education, not in training, not employed. It's not just high school students or university students. Here we are talking about quite socially disadvantaged audience. Yeah? And what were the principles that we understood? First of all, when you do ICT or digital skills training, sometimes they are successful. Sometimes the results fail. Why? Because first, when you do training, you need to do the training according to the labor market needs. Yeah? What employers require, what employers will require in next 3 years and next 5 years. Yeah? So first of all, we had research based on what are the needs, what will be the digital job profiles, yeah? What will be the competencies. The second principle, talking with many employers and also representing the ICT industry, you don't need just the digital skills, you need the transversal skills, you need the entrepreneurship skills so that the youth get employed and, more important, stay employed. Yeah? So we understood that we need to add to our, let's say, methodology and training scope as well. Then, of course, how do you understand talking to each young woman if she is fitting for digital media specialist job or data protection officer or data analyst? So we created profiling tools, both for digital competence in general, but also for exact profile. Again, including not just digital questions, but also questions about attitudes, about way of working. And we had partners who helped to implement it a very, how to say, advanced online platform. The next step, even if you are training a lot of people, everyone is a person, so they need a personalized approach. Therefore, we developed very detailed online roadmaps where we can mark every single step of progress of the young woman participating. Every learning unit she finished, every workshop she participated, practical job she attended. At the end, it's very objective evaluation. It's also a tool to alert the mentors and trainers if some points are missing that we need to contact and find out what is the reason of the dropout. at the end, when we issue certificates, it's also a very good description what the young women have learned during their past, and you can present it to the employer or to the future employer. Like, you know, sometimes at university you get the diploma, but then you have also the extract from the trainings, yeah? I think this was a very great way, and it's very helped for the women in the next employability steps. And then we understood that even if we have this blended training with different type of competencies, women need more to start their careers. It's empowerment workshops, it's job shadowing sessions, and it's also, let's say, personal mentoring, peer-to-peer mentoring, group mentoring, via different online channels, or even having face-to-face meetings. If we look of the impact, because the figures have been already demonstrated by Cecilia, it was very important because it's innovation project if we are doing the right things. Yeah? So we ask all involved stakeholders, employers, young girls, mentors, trainers to evaluate the tools, evaluate the approach, and evaluate the benefits. And as already mentioned, we are very happy that the beneficiaries, the young women, really felt much more confident. They were able to find the job, and they were also positive to suggest this program to others. We have many stories, let's say 900 stories of all the women who participated, but we have also testimonials for the employers. Because if you look overall, then we helped young women with the project to rise their education level, to help to guide their careers, but also to raise the self-esteem, yes, that I'm able to be a digital professional. And for the employers, it was also opening eyes. Yeah? First of all, that you need to be involved in preparing your future specialists. The gender equality or diversity is very important. Yeah? And that more you contribute to preparing or supporting your young people, the more advanced you will be. So at the end, I like to thank everyone who has been involved, of course the EEA and Norway grants, who allowed us generous timing and resources really to experiment, evaluate, and shape the tools to the best. I like to thank our employers, more than 350 employers across 9 countries who really contributed by different aspects. I like to thank all partners, but most of all, I like to thank the 900 young women who trusted, who devoted their passion and time to join the project, and I believe that they have already found their dream job or they're having to find it. And to conclude, yes, we have millions and millions of reskilling and upskilling funds at all governmental levels. Let's work together within the partnership with other countries, with the Commission, that we can upscale this activity and include it into the large programs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mara, for this lovely recap. And now I would like to invite on stage our partners, people that have developed the project by themselves, and they implemented it in different countries across Europe. So I would very much like to welcome Andrada, Maria, Dangole, I can see you, Monica over there. And we're missing Sephora as well. So please join me on stage. And a quick roundup for our ladies here. Ladies, thank you so much for joining. And I want to start my questions with addressing Maria, because your organization was responsible for delivering the research parts of the project. So you looked at different ways of how we can collect the data from employers and how we can build the project onto that information. So how did you approach it? How did you go about this?
Okay, Nice to be here, first of all. It was a difficult task because it was the first of the project, and whatever we did afterwards, it was based on the results of this work package. What we did was to try to meet two challenges in order to promote women in ICT and find which skills are important for the future. First of all, we increased the breadth of the research. Can we change the... We increased the breadth of the research and we share the responsibility, because the major challenges were, first of all, that we have seen a slow improvement in women's participation in ICT, and also we wanted to identify skills that will be in need currently and also 5 years after the end of the project. So we needed to look in the future, and it was a lot of uncertainty in that. We had to address this uncertainty, and it was like looking in a rosy mirror. So what we did, we used an approach that included systemic approach, participatory approach, and also repetitive testing of what we suggested. Let's start with systemic approach. First of all, we focused on women, their needs, their expectations, their preferences, but not only that. We collected data from companies and employers, from companies to see their size, to see the characteristics, the industry sector they operate in, but also from employers, their attitudes towards recruiting women, their attitudes towards ICT adoption. We also included managerial quality, like organization structure and leadership they have, because this affects, influences the adoption of ICT in their companies, and thus the need for skills, for digital skills. And then we looked at the external environment, the economy, the trends in work, the trends in supply and demand of skills. And of course, we looked at the technologies that have been produced and developed. Then we used the participatory approach. It was one of our main goals and targets to include employers and women from the beginning of the project, from the first stages of this project, in order to realize, as I think Cecilia mentioned, they know their needs better from us, and we wanted deliberately to include employers, because as things and skills change fast, the needs for skills change fast, we need to have them included in the provision of training, in a way co-design the training with them to address their needs. And then we had repetitive testing of what we developed through 7 national forum groups that we created in each partner country that piloted this project, through focus groups and 1 international validation workshop to validate with what we have created. This was a constant interaction we had with our target groups. And just to show you share some numbers with you, for this research, we looked at more than 200 resources, articles, conference proceedings, books. We surveyed more than 200 employers in 7 countries to see what they need in skills, but also what are their goals in adopting future technologies. And we also included 65 stakeholders from all the 7 piloting countries. And the reason for that was we wanted to have their insight in the project, to validate the findings of the research, and also to prioritize the jobs and the skills we are going to promote and develop, because there was a breadth of skills out there, and we wanted to make sure that what we presented and suggested would be relevant. So the key findings, some of them, first of all, is that success in ICT is not a male privilege. It's not a male characteristic. There are many women that are successful in ICT, and we need to emphasize this and to promote this. to make them role models, but more than that, to show a career path that can be successful for women. Then we saw that employees require not only technical skills, but also social skills. And they require from their employees to understand the business in order to promote ICT adoption and innovation. We also realized the complexity of jobs, and we wanted to include in the training skills that will help women anticipate changes and be ready for them. So we promoted a skill, an attitude to learn how to learn, to sustain employment. And because the rapid evolution of technology we all have to deal with, there was another attitude we needed to foster, and that was that women need to make themselves familiar with the ICT developments. So kind of like a lifelong learning, updating their skills constantly. All this resulted in digital job profiles, not only suggestions for digital skills. And the profiles are the 8 profiles that we trained our women, the 900 women. And for these profiles, you will be hearing more from my colleagues. So thank you very much for your attention so far. I hope I've answered your question, Kasia.
Thank you so much, Maria. And I find it super interesting, actually, that we co-created all of our work with employers from the very start and addressed the needs that both our women that we're training, but also the employers have in the market. Of course, something that needs to be said is that we did this research in 2018, maybe 2019, so then no one was able to really foresee that we will be having a 2-year pandemic and a war at the same time almost. So needs have obviously changed, but it's important to keep that in mind, and maybe in the future iterations of the project make slight updates to make sure that the project is still according to the needs of the employers and the women on the market. Moving on to you, Danga. You took all the solutions, all the information that Maria and her team have created, and you translated it into an online tool that allowed us to understand a bit better what skills, what job profiles are the best possible for our trainees. So how did you approach it? How did you create the tool?
Thank you, Kasia. Okay, thank you. Really, I am in this project, I was responsible for ICT side. Really, it was very innovative, not only as a software, but it came very innovative methodology. And we have a lot of tools in this platform, but maybe one of them, profiling tool, are much more important, because each of us, we are some personalities, and we have individual way for our study process. And I very much like a sentence from Mara, personalized way. I think it's very important, especially in this project. And we, in our profiling tool, we are suggesting young girls digital job profiles according personal needs. And as you see, really, it's very simple algorithm. We are suggesting young girls to test, first of all, to find personal needs, and later, if you will need, we are suggesting you mentor, because really we are caring about you, and really I would like to invite all girls, not only sitting in this room, but outside, online. And really, I think we will have not only 900 users. I think after this conference, and especially when we are doing a lot of dissemination activities in our countries, it will be thousands and thousands. Really, I would like to thank, because I have chance to use these old tools in Lithuania too. I think it's very, very important. Again, when you speak about some job profiles, totally we have 8. But in our countries, maybe in some countries, we are suggesting only 4 or 3 because of national needs. We made some survey, and if we, for example, in Lithuania, we need some profiles, we are suggesting 4 of them. It's very easy way to be active member in our profiling tools. You can see, first step, you have to register it. It's very simple, because if you want to reach some material. Second, you have to, okay, it's written, press button, it's not very important, to do self-assessment quiz. Second, if you see that it's very interesting for you, you have to pass some test in some job profile. And really, it's on your needs. It's not necessary to pass all job profiles. And again, if you will need, you can wait for the suggestion of mentor. It's very important because you have some as a personal supervising. Sorry. Okay. A little slowly, but it's okay. In the beginning, when we speak about digital readiness quiz, we are suggesting you 20 questions. We are asking you different things from technical side, from software side, and we are trying to, like I'm telling, scan you. Really, what about your level? Later on, if you have some interest to continue, you have to check your results. For example, if you want to apply to some job, of course, this company are waiting for some specialists in some level. If you are collecting less like 80%, we are suggesting you, please go and to train yourself. It means you will go to some test for job profile, you will wait for the mentor. If you have enough skills in these areas, okay, you can apply for this job. It means as a self-testing, and really it's very, very useful because sometimes we don't know our level. And it's very important to look, but it's very easy to answer to these questions. And when we are passing a digital readiness quiz, we are suggesting you, of course, if you want to pass a job profile, we are suggesting you 8 job profiles. And of course, you are a registered person. You are choosing what do you want. Again, I would like to tell again, but we have in few languages, in 8 languages, and if you want to choose English, you can choose all of them, but in some another languages, in Lithuanian languages, for example, you can choose only 4 job profiles. And you are, after all activity, you can find results about your some evaluation about your test results. You can see, for example, digital readiness test, 87%, and you can see it's suitable for you or not. And of course, if some percentages are not so high, but if you have interest, you can go and to pass test in some concrete job profile, for example, project coordinator. And training roadmap. I don't like to tell very detailed because it would be a very long presentation. My main task to invite you. Please come to our portal to try to test yourself. And as I mentioned, really, it's my last slide, it's okay. You can choose 8 languages. For example, if you want English, it's okay. We are presenting in our partners' languages. And really, I would like to tell you, came to us, try to test yourself and to be more active, because really ICT companies and different companies are waiting for you. And to grow our knowledge and skills is not so complicated, because it's very nice tools to test yourself, to try some training material, and I would like to suggest all the best in your future. I think it's this project, I would like really to tell thanks to coordinator Mara and Norwegian Grant, because I think this project playing one of the biggest role now in our countries, especially, for example, in my country, because we are small and really impact was very, very big. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danga. And so basically the tool that you created, that was like a matchmaking system allowing the young women that were using it to figure out what kind of job exactly they want to be trained in. And that was international language, meaning that all the solutions that we've created are catered in a way that is more inclusive. It's not only in English, but it's really to be able to follow in the language that your native tongue. Exactly. So that's brilliant. And now I'm turning to you, Monica and Sephora, because you were the ones implementing the project, right? You were the ones training. I mean, of course, all of you were doing that, but you trained the girls, the young women, not girls, really. You gave them some support on the employability side, on soft skills side. There was also some mentorship involved. So I would like to ask you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, hi everyone. Spain was the leader for the package of testing innovative solutions. So it was the training accompanied with the empowerment workshops, job shadowings, and mentoring process. It's been like, I think, a very good and integrated employment-oriented training, because we run the courses with the technical training, and it was also followed at the same time together with the empowerment sessions. So this makes, I think, it makes developing the soft and hard skills. We make, I think, a set of competencies that really help and influence in the final selection process. The empowerment sessions, I mean, the courses were run in 160 hours. It was divided in a 70% of virtual classroom and a 30% of online platform, which was quite complete and a good quality courses. And then it was followed, as I said, with the empowerment sessions. In these empowerment sessions, we, I think, covered all the topics needed to oriented to employability. Finally, we helped them to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats on the job search for each one. They were teach how to make a good, strong curriculum, for example, which is quite important, how to move it in social networks, how to adapt it to the different job offers, how to be prepared to a job interview, which is quite important as well, types of interviews, tips for each one. I mean, it was, I think, quite practical, oriented also. And finally, the mentoring process, I think it was quite important as well. The role of the mentors were crucial, I think, in accompanying these students, as they were, I mean, they were guided in what they feel. They needed more support, and they have been the protagonists of the whole process. So I think this makes a very successful and very integrated employment-oriented training, finally.
Thank you so much for that, Monica. How about you, Sephora? Because this is what you implemented in Spain, and then I wonder how that worked in Malta.
So, as for Malta, in terms of approach, obviously it was online. COVID kind of imposed that on us as well. But for us, it worked really well being online, as it made it more accessible. Having the approach being online made it accessible for most young women, since most of them were either full-time studying or maybe they were working. So that made it easier to fit into their schedule. And also it gives you more courage to attend, and doing that from the comfort of anywhere in your location, be it at home or somewhere else. So that worked to our advantage. Also, students could enter the training sessions at their own convenience, at their own pace. However, even from the training provider side, from our end, we also had an update on the students' progress, so that we can monitor and also have continuous follow-ups with the students. Sometimes maybe they give up a bit, or maybe they need some extra encouragement, or maybe they are finding it a bit hard and they would need a bit of assistance, guidance. Sometimes they need that push. We're all human. So that was it was nice to experience the girls that they were not yet ready to give up. They wanted to proceed. They just wanted someone a support system, basically. So we tried to be that way as much as possible, both from our side as SecMT and myself as the project coordinator, and also from the training provider side, to make this experience as positive as possible for them. In terms of the mentoring, it's obviously very relevant, both since the mentoring sessions, they were very informative, they had a realistic approach, and they prepare you very well for the real world, the real job world. So those skills, both through the sessions and both also through the empowerment session and job shadowing sessions, they were essential to prepare you, because we have to realize that maybe not everyone had this opportunity to learn it from their parents or their guardians, or maybe someone close to them. So having that opportunity for someone to experience that and feel prepared for the world out there and to face any challenge that they may come their way, it was essential. Obviously, it tackles the present trends and the demand in ICT, and also maybe if they are already working in the sector, it helps them to moving up the career ladder. So if they are already in the tech sector and they want to further their career, they want to move, this was a good foundation to start, or even when they are furthering their studies, or maybe career switch, or maybe possibly changing their studies to ICT in order to and also, as I mentioned before, bringing light to opportunities that there is available out there. Maybe most of the young women, they didn't have the same opportunity, or maybe for some reason they couldn't prioritize their studies that much, and now was the right time to at least have something, a foundation, a ground, and then build from that. And this training program, the Women4IT program, was essential and was a crucial point in that, in serving as the point to go further up. In terms of the empowerment workshops from our end, it was a four-day workshop. We worked closely with Jobs Plus, and we tackled the topics that are on the screen right now. And they were, the outcome was quite good, and the interest was quite authentic and genuine. And again, as I mentioned, they are skills that help them to identify maybe they weren't aware, or maybe they wanted to improvise on them, and help them how to present themselves in the job world better. So they were essential in developing both their hard skills and both their soft skills. And also they help develop their character and their personal being, not just the work world. These are a few photos. I switched to this other side, sorry. But it was quite a positive experience from our end. And it was a satisfaction to seeing the progress the girls made, and seeing their journey, even if they gave up a bit, and then seeing succeed and doing the exams. It was a satisfaction in itself, seeing them progress. And at some point I felt they were like my students or my kids, and it was very satisfied seeing them doing so well.
It is so great to hear that, and it must be incredibly rewarding to have that experience, to see how people that are under your supervision in a way, or people that you care for, grow and progress, and they achieve further results. So it must have been great for you. And what I really appreciate about the project as well is that it's not only the digital skills training, it's not really into the job training, but focusing also on support and guidance and employability, making sure that we reach the women that not always would we be able to reach otherwise. And also the fact that you implemented a lot of, a big chunk of this project in the COVID pandemic. Moving everything online really allowed to reach to those who are located in more rural areas that were not really as connected to, you know, the key places where you would be implementing the in-person training. So it's really, again, allowed us an opportunity for more inclusion, which I thought was really, really great.
Also, it felt amazing to know that you are part of a change rather than just talking about it. So it's like making that small difference, and if everyone did that small thing, it would certainly make a big difference. It's a chain after all, so it felt good being part of that change.
Thank you so much for this, Sephora. And I think that it's all of us partners sharing that feeling, and we're really excited to be able to push the needle a little bit further at least. And now, Andrada, I turn to you, because your role, aside from implementing the project, was really creating the strategy for engaging employers in all of our activities. How did you go about this?
Right. So, hi, everyone. Lovely to be here. Thank you. The approach for engaging employers was basically, our main goal was to build strong relationship with employers. So for this, basically each piloting organization reached out to their own networks, partnerships. We participated at different events, job fairs. We reached out to state employment agencies, to career counselors, and basically to the community in general. Then in different countries, we basically had more or less the same strategy. We had obviously direct communication with employers because that was one of the best ways to reach out to them. And we had organized focus groups, which were very, very important because we gathered a lot of feedback and a lot of insights from employers and from our view as well. And we sent out questionnaires to all the employers in each country to find out about the gender gap situation in their companies and the hiring rate. And then, so this was more like general, every country did this. And then particularly in each country we had, for example, in Latvia, they had agreements with the state employment agencies, and this allowed them to bring a big pool of girls, candidates for the training, which was really good and had good results. Then for Spain and Romania, for example, we had HR meetings. We also had role model talks and discussions organized for the girls that really helped them and kind of boosted their, their empowerment and their self-esteem and maybe their vision in the future to go into those kind of jobs. In Greece, they reached out to employers associations. In Lithuania, they reached out to business women associations, which again was really helpful and successful. In Malta, I know that direct communication was a big success for you because you had a lot of face-to-face meetings. And also we had Women4IT awards organized for the employers and as well for the ambassadors that got involved in each of the country, just to be able to recognize their efforts into, contributing to the initiative of Women4IT. Then, so yeah, we had quite some employers involved. In the end, 350 employers hired women from our trainings, and what we gathered as an information in the end, it helped us realize from the collaboration with employers. It helped us realize what's the focus on the job market, and it also allowed us to co-design the curricula, the training curricula available in all the countries. This was very helpful. And as well to organize job shadowing sessions for the trainees, which was one of the most successful tools that we did throughout the whole project, besides the empowerment methodology as well, and the mentoring, individual and group mentoring. And in the end, it opened up possibilities for the girls to have jobs on the digital market in all these countries who piloted the project. And the lessons we learned in the end, well, I think because of the pandemic that hit us and we were not expecting it, we realized that it's super important to have more face-to-face meetings, because this is the key when interacting with, with other people and when you want to make changes. I think it's very important. And also to have more targeted campaigns targeted at employers, directly at employers, as well as offering them a bit of, facilitate them the knowledge to identify their needs in order to make job ads according to the trends on the market and to be able to attract, the right staff for the new vacancies. So this is one thing that, it's good to know for the future in order to improve it.
Thank you so much for that. And I quickly also want to ask you, because this is a self-sustaining mechanism in a way. So the employers give us their feedback to what should be included in the curricula. We then train the young women that require these skills and these job profiles, and then they go back to those companies and they get employed. So it's kind of like a self-sustaining mechanism, a circle in a way, like a twofold mechanism. So I think that's quite a good method to approach it. But also you supported the employers in a different way. There was an employment toolkit created, right?
Right, yeah. So the employment toolkit we developed was basically structured in two ways. One side for the women looking to find jobs in the digital area, and one side for the employers looking to hire. The side for women was offering basically information where to, how they can develop their skills, where they can look for job applications and so on, how to react, how to behave, how to compete with others at the interviews and so on, how to write their CVs and so on. And the other side for employers, that was actually more focused on the added value that they could bring in such initiatives by, co-designing, by collaborating with us, by giving us insights and contributing to a project like this.
Good, good, good. And one thing that we have to highlight, I think, is that, again, this is a resource that is nationalized for different countries, and that all of the resources that we have talked about today, so the employment toolkit, the research methodology, the training roadmaps, the piloting tool, all of that is accessible in all of the languages, but also for free. So if at any point your organization or yourself would like to test it out, see what's there, get inspired by the methodology as well, it's all accessible through our website, or we are also happy to direct you there if you reach out to us. So that's one thing probably to keep in mind if you'd like to make use of those and see how you can use that for replicating the project or just empowering more women to go into tech. I will finish this conversation on this note. However, I want to open the floor to people in the room and ask if you have any specific questions. Of course, people in the room here, but also people online. So if there is anything that you would want to ask our panel, this is the time. And for people online, you can still use the Slido to ask questions there. And if you have any, we can display them over here. I see a hand there on the back. Do we have someone with the microphone? If not, I will run quickly. Thank you so much, Laura. At the very end over there.
Hi, my name is Megan Brown. I'm an Irish American. I grew up in Silicon Valley, so I've worked in IT for 40 years, and I've lived in Belgium for 29 years. I have two questions. The first one is back to the key findings slide that you had. I was very struck by the first statement that says that success in IT is not a male privilege. I think, however, it is perceived as such. And one thing I missed, although it might have been there in some of the empowering efforts that you did or trainings that you did for the women, is did you specifically give them training on how to sing their praises, talk about their successes, and make sure that they're known? Because I think we know there's plenty of studies where women, they downplay their successes and therefore they are not known within organizations. So that's the first question. And the second one has to do with the translations, where you mentioned that in some of the places only 4 job profiles are available. Why was that? Was it due to lack of funding, resources, time? Voilà.
Maybe we can address the first question, yeah, and then we go to the second one.
Yeah, we realized that even that success is not a male prerogative, and we realized that we women, our biases, even when looking through the literature, our attention was drawn to the hardships that women go through when they enter this career path, while there are successful women in this career. So we thought that we should promote the successful women, not only as role models, but also to signify a career path that is rewarding, that can be creative. So don't just keep our attention only on the stereotypes and the norms and the negative attitudes that exist. But also, on the other hand, you can see that there are very successful women out there, and if you consider how less women follow this career, 1 out of 3 follow a career in STEMs, only 20% of women are in this sector, and they are successful. That means that women do have this quality. They can be successful, they should not be afraid, and we emphasize this in the empowerment seminars. We emphasize how women could set goals that can be reached, and how to validate themselves, evaluate themselves, their strengths and their weaknesses, and work towards training to make up for their weaknesses and promote their strengths. We had 9 structured empowerment seminars that did exactly that. Show women that they have power and show how they can use the qualities they have. Okay?
Thank you for that, Maria, and thank you for the question. Do we have any other in the room? I see another hand. Oh, sorry. One more question? Sorry, one
I
was...
can answer
yes,
that,
go ahead,
if that's
please.
okay. Okay, so the way we did the job profiles in each country had to do with the discussions we had with employers, because we involved them into this. We needed to know what's available on the market in each country. So for example, in Romania, we had as well just 4 profiles, and after long discussions and a lot of brainstorming and research with employers, we identified tester, junior web developer, customer support, and project administrator. So these 4 job profiles were the most wanted on the market at that time. So that's why we only developed these 4 trainings in Romania, and it's the same story available for the other countries. Other questions?
Thank you for that. We have a hand over there and then one in the back. I would also say we have to be quite quick because we're already imposing onto the coffee break and then we're starting at 11:30 sharp, but we have the space for the next 2.
Thank you so much. My name is Paula Oliveira. I come from Spain. I'm a student at the College of Europe, and it's amazing to be here listening to all of you and your work. I had a question on the job profiles as well. I know there's some research trying to identify these job profiles that are going to be needed and how to reskill and upskill people based on their existing skills and using data. I don't know if there is any idea to upscale the project also using data for this job profile and skilling roadmap to be even faster in the identification of job profiles and personalization of the training. And also I was very impressed by the different topics that are touched upon in the sessions that you give to the program participants: self-awareness, SMART goal evaluation, hard, soft, and digital skills. What are the plans for this project to be also upscaled? Because I believe these particular skills are very relevant not only for young women, but I guess women across the board, and not only women in IT, but women in general. I don't know if there is any conversations or prospects to expand this program and reach a broader group of women. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question, and feel free to jump in at any point, but I would say, because this is the end of our 4-year project, so really this is where we put not the dot, but maybe the 3 dots, we're hoping for the continuation. I think we've done a tremendous job of laying the grounds and creating methodologies that could be reshaped, created with new iterations, perhaps addressed more towards the current needs. But the methodology, the grounds that we laid are quite relevant still. So the idea now, and this is also part of the reason why we're having this conversation today and the expert panel later on, is really to talk about the future, to talk about what can we do together as this partnership, as EA Norway grants, as yourselves, as the industry, the commission, civil society organizations. How can we work together to reshape, reskill this project, make it bigger and grander and make it systematic, as Cecilia mentioned before. So it's really about coming together and having that discussion and driving it a bit forward, because I feel like a lot of people are talking about it. There's many initiatives that you will also hear about later on that are very granular, and I think that's great because they work at a very local level. But at the same time, we need something embedded in the structures, something that will allow us to push projects like that, initiatives like that forward. So it's definitely in the discussions, it's definitely in the works, but we need commitment from many different actors. And also, if that's something that you're thinking about, if you have ideas, if you have feedback, feel free to connect with us and we can also see what can be done. I know that we had one more question in the back. I don't know if it's still over there. Yes.
It was actually just a follow-up to the survey of employers and the job profiles. Was that done pre-COVID? I guess it was. It would be quite interesting to see, going back to the same people, to see what their answers would be now.
Right now,
because I was
exactly.
surprised that there weren't things like the most in-demand jobs now around data science, machine learning, and stuff like that. And I'd note that what I see is that actually the leadership, who I guess are the people that are answering your survey, it's actually not through their own fault, maybe because they're not natives in all of this, but the ignorance around emerging technologies and stuff like that is really influencing their decisions on what types of jobs and skills are needed in their own organisation. So there's a kind of there's a gap there as well.
Right.
So yeah.
Definitely, if we did the same surveys again with or the discussions with employers, we would identify different job profiles available and most wanted on the market right now. So that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely like a bit of, yes, we're talking about reskilling the young generation, but we're also talking about, and it's not maybe specifically in this project, but it's a discussion to be had to boost that digitalization and also awareness of people working at companies to drive not only digitalization per se, but really embrace emerging technologies, as you said, AI, cybersecurity. We've seen over the last year and a half how important it is. So it's a boost that we need to commit ourselves to as well, kind of on the top of the work that we do. And this is a bit of what Digital Europe tries to do, but I'm also sure that many of the partners here and the audience is committed to as well. I will pause it here because I want to make sure that you have a bit of a break before we move over to the next agenda point. So take your time. Thank you so much for your time for now. Grab a coffee, grab a snack, be back here a little bit before 11:30 because then we really have to start very sharply. So thank you so much, and we see each other in 10 to 15 minutes. 10, rather 10. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Hello back in. Welcome after your coffee break. I hope you are all refreshed, having your coffee, having your snacks. Welcome also to the people online. I hope you're back joining us right now. We had a refresher session of what Women4IT is. We had a couple of questions. You know more about our impact and the methodologies implied in the project. And now the time has come to talk a bit more about the future. And it is my immense pleasure to invite on the stage Mrs. Temis Christofoulou from DG AG, the Director General of DG AG from the European Commission, to talk more about the future of women in STEM. So, Ms. Christofoulou, I would love to welcome you on the stage. Please give a round of applause.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, and excellent accent in Greek. Huh? Yeah, I don't know if you take Greek lesson. Very good. Usually it's not easy. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. And let me start by thanking the EA and Norway Grants, Digital Europe, and the Women4IT team for organizing this event on such an important topic. 4 years ago, Women4IT was created with a clear goal to empower young women across Europe to become part of the digital economy. You understood early on the gender gap in ICT. You could see its impact on women across Europe and the world. And so you went to work. You put together this initiative and have since trained over 900 women across Europe as programmers, data analysts, and more. We know that the task ahead of us is daunting. After all, in Europe, only 19% of ICT specialist jobs are held by women. When women do make it to the professional ICT field, less than 20% have leadership roles. In the world of academia and research, women still represent less than a quarter of doctoral graduates in ICT. These figures represent a huge entrepreneurial and technical potential lying untapped as we digitalize. The amount of talent that falls by the wayside, possibly missing on their vocation, is immense and worrying. We all lose in this process. Of course, we lose talent, and this is in itself a big issue. But we also lose on the impact on the digital transition, and we lose on the change for so many women to realize themselves and help their communities. With Women4IT, Digital Europe is taking steps to address this issue, not only standing for equal opportunities, but also standing to help women creating even more wealth and value across the EU. In fact, studies indicate that closing the gender gap in STEM could lead to GDP growth of up to 820 billion by 2050. This is how much the sector needs the potential of these highly skilled employees. On average, around half of companies struggle in one way or another to fill ICT vacancies. As to whether the skill is there to be developed, yes, let me put it this way. Results from the most recent International Computer and Information Literacy Study from 2018 show that girls scored significantly higher when it comes to digital skills than boys. So why are girls and women keeping away from ICT studies and professions? One of the key factors has to do with the fact that girls perceive their skills to be lower than boys, even when they outperform boys on digital skills. And this is a more general issue and attitude of women, I need to say. I come across, I interview women and men in my career on a regular basis, and I see this state of mind of women usually saying, I don't know if I am the right person for this job, and men usually believing that there's nobody better than them for this vacancy. So it's an attitude thing that needs to change for women, I mean. We need to make sure that girls believe in themselves and in their talent. So how can we do this, and how the European Commission can support you to empower girls across the EU? First, to build confidence, we need to connect role models in STEM and ICT to young women. For example, our new initiative, Researchers at Schools, will bring EU-funded researchers to schools across Europe. We want to dispel stereotypes and provide young people with real examples of real researchers inspiring young people as they share their passion. In the next 2 years, we expect to reach more than 2.5 primary and secondary schools, involving more than 220,000 pupils across Europe. This type of action benefits from great synergy with our programs, from the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, which provide us with the role models for researchers at schools, to the many bottom-up projects that Erasmus Plus funds on STEM and digital education. However, confidence is also built through experience, a lesson you know well through your work. And so we come to my second point, closely related to the first one. We need more opportunities for girls and women to build their skills and their confidence in a welcoming, supportive environment that fosters their curiosity and their drive. That is where initiatives like Girls Go Circular come in. This is a free online learning program for 14 to 19-year-old girls. The girls develop digital and entrepreneurial skills while learning about circular economy topics, from metals and plastics to sustainable fashion. Since the start of the project in 2020, the European Institute for Innovation and Technology in Budapest, the EIT, which runs the project, has trained over 16,000 girls across 15 member states. Girls Go Circular has another important dimension. It connects STEM and digital skills to real-world applications and challenges, in this case, the circular economy. The real-world context can add new layers to people's motivation to get involved in digital fields, and it follows an important approach we have championed at the EU, the STEAM approach, adding the arts, humanities, and social sciences to STEM. With the STEAM approach, STEM subjects are linked to political, environmental, socioeconomic, and cultural contexts. Another important way to build both confidence and experience in contact with the community, and for both of these tools, and both of these tools are brought together in the Digital Education Action Plan, STEAM Fests. I don't know if you've heard yet about the STEAM Fests. STEAM adds entrepreneurship to STEAM, and our fests are two-way hybrid workshops where girls and women of all ages come together in a nurturing, positive environment to improve their digital and entrepreneurial competencies. They do so through interactive, hands-on workshops centered on real-world topics like how to build a small company, public speaking, financial literacy, coding, robotics, or designing digital tools. And the best part is that they are targeted at both young girls and adult women, making sure the confidence we build supports gender equality in companies right now, as well as in the future. So far, we have organized 3 STEAM Fests, and another 2 will take place by the end of this year. One for girls in Ireland and Malta, and one for women in Greece. By the end of this 3-year project, at least 11 STEAM Fests will have been organized in a total of 19 member states. My third point focuses on community. After all, as I said at the beginning, gender equality is no easy task, and it is a personal issue for many, if not for all of us. To marshal everyone around this goal, we are launching the STEAM Manifesto through the European Strategy for Universities. The manifesto defines a set of principles and commitments for gender-inclusive STEM and STEAM education and careers, underwritten by schools, universities, research and innovation institutions across Europe. And it is based on a co-creative process. Just last week, we closed our survey to identify the key principles and actions to be addressed by the manifesto. I have talked about actions in the school community, in the research community, the academic community, but we cannot forget the many innovation communities across Europe. This leads me once again to the EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, which has several actions that support women innovators and entrepreneurs. For example, the EIT's Women4IT program is an initiative presented under the new European Innovation Agenda, which will support women to start their careers in venture investment. It will do so by training them in the fundamentals of this field, matching them with investors. Another example, the EIT Women Entrepreneurship and Leadership Scheme. It supports early-stage women-led tech startups, including through an enhanced Women Tech EU call. And then there is the Deep Tech Talent Initiative that aims to support the training of 1 million people as they develop their skills in deep tech fields over a 3-year period across all EU member states. This initiative will also prioritize the participation of women in its programs. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have many initiatives working in consonance together with you, listening to you and our stakeholder community. Your work is essential and it enriches our policies and initiatives and adds momentum to fight an issue that is truly worthy of our commitment. I would like to conclude with the words of Anna Radulowski, the award-winning Ukrainian CEO of Women Tech Network, founder of Coding Girls and advocate for diversity in tech. To create a more diverse and inclusive tech world, we need to inspire and empower the next generation of female role models to pursue and develop their career in technology and become innovators, leaders, and entrepreneurs. It's a process, and it's not always straightforward. It takes time, action, and support. I think we all agree with her. Thank you for contributing to all of this through your projects as well as through your efforts, steering our initiatives through your feedback and co-creative work, and multiplying the value of our program's investments. I look forward to receiving further feedback from your discussions today and in the next months and years to come, as we all want to succeed in this shared mission. Thanks a lot.
Wow, what a speech. Thank you so much, Mrs. Christofidu, for taking the time. I know that you have to rush out, so it was really great 10 minutes to have together. And it clearly shows that there is a lot of initiative across the EU to boost women participation in technology, not only technology, the digital skills, basic digital skills that we're discussing, but also more advanced digital skills and helping to develop ICT specialists dealing with emerging technologies that we discussed a bit earlier today. Now, we go back a little bit in time to talk to the people that we created Women4IT for in the first place. And these are our trainees that went through the project. I can see them smiling in the background already, but that have gone through the training themselves. And they are here today with us to tell their stories, to share their learnings, talk a bit more about their experience throughout Women4IT, and hopefully guide us towards some ideas towards the future. So, first of all, Christina, welcome. Ariadna, welcome on the stage. Please join us. But together we also have with us Yeva, who was one of the employers engaged in creation of Women4IT, and she also mentored some of our trainees. So Eva, please join us on stage as well, and please give a round of applause to all of our speakers today. And ladies, I am so excited to have you on stage today. Also, thank you so much for flying into Brussels and agreeing to share your stories. We are very much looking forward to hear more about this. And my first question to you is really, why did you decide to join Women4IT in the first place? Christina, we can start with you.
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm very grateful and excited to share my knowledge, but also by representing the country and all the girls coming from them. I'm sharing my experience by saying that I was first interested in joining the program for the GDPR specialist course. However, due to the low interest in our country, I had the opportunity by discussing with Mrs. Yanakourou to join the course about the project management. And I found out that it's the basis, it's the fundamentals for our everyday life. So basically, yes, it was the first thought that if I want to advance my knowledge and state my thesis in joining this kind of program, it was very interesting to do so in order to get another field and maybe combine them with my other majors.
Right, so you saw this as something complementary to your previous interests and previous education, something that might push you a little bit further. How is it for you, Ariadna?
Hello, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think first when I saw the course in LinkedIn in the official page of Plan International, I of course didn't know that's gonna change my life. I mean, alone being here, it's a big opportunity. So I chose this course because I did my degree, I did my master, and I had the feeling I don't really know a lot about project management, and you have everywhere. So the first point was to improve my skills and to know a little bit more about project management.
Right, so something that we have to mention as well is like project management connected to ICT roles and technology. So you also told me today that, you also told me yesterday, that you use it because it's a little difficult in Spain to maybe land a job, even though you have a degree or multiple degrees or you speak multiple languages, it's still a bit tricky. Right. So that ICT role, that project management within the tech sector, that was something that would kind of put you up there a little bit more.
I really hope. I mean, I got my job like 2 months after I finished the course, so I think it worked really well. But yeah, I mean, in Spain, as I told you yesterday, it is a bit complicated to get a job, even if you have a degree and a master on 4 or 5 languages. So I was really happy to join the course and to have the opportunity.
So I wonder a little bit more about the experience throughout the course. Of course, we heard before from our partners how it was developed, what they provided for you. But I'm curious how you took it, you know, what was your specific experience? And maybe we can start with Christina.
Can you rephrase the question, actually? This is very interesting. In general, do you want something like that? How do we apply these kind of knowledges later in our field?
Well, how was the course for you? So what were the key highlights? What was the most interesting stuff for you? What were the learnings that you got from it? Okay, did you like it as well?
Actually, let's first start from the perfect traineeship and also by communicating with our professors. It was the most fundamental part for us because we had questionnaires. We have started in the course, we were the class that we were doing during the COVID by distance learning. It was very difficult for us because many of the girls, they weren't very, in general I will say that, they weren't very familiar with the technology. Even for me that I was studying abroad, and by distance in my university, I was aware of how the systems are working, but doing that by distance, all of these kind of ICT knowledges that you want the softwares to work in order to do the assignments, it was difficult. But we built a community. This is the key highlight that we are stating for Greece, and with the help of our professors and their recommendation, we have built a community that it's still working today. We are helping each other, so basically this is the most important thing for me.
That's lovely. So I understand you had an extra challenge because you did do your training during the COVID times, but that also allowed you to train some of those ICT skills in practice.
Exactly.
But it also allowed you to bound a little bit more. So you bonded, you created that community that still supports each other.
Which
so
is still active also. Let me
wonderful.
tell that right now we are still cooperating with Angeliki Galani, which is not with us. She's a colleague. She's the project manager of the project that we're handling in Greece with Google. We're cooperating. And apart from that, we're still cooperating with other learners, they're already working in universities in specific fields as project managers. And they have advanced their knowledges by this course in order to use this kind of softwares and systems. So it's very important of having this active community being here. And thank you, Mrs. Giannakourou, for that, really. Thank you for everything.
This is so wonderful to hear. What were the key learnings or the experience altogether for you, Christina? Ariadna. I keep doing that.
As I told you yesterday, we have learned so many things, like really basic things. When you think, oh, it's okay, I can do that, but when you are at work, you cannot, like Excel and Word. It sounds really simple, but we learned so much about that. And I think one of the biggest learning, like my highlight, was to think about where I want to go. Like, I feel I was doing my degree and my master and everything was going so fast, I didn't have the time to think about what I really want to do. So I think speaking with another girls and with the teachers, I had the opportunity to think about myself, about my goals, and about my professional way. And that was a really, my highlight in the course.
That's so great. And I remember we were actually chatting about this, that you come from the social sector, social services, and with this tech training, you found a way of helping people still, but maybe doing it a bit different through a different type of job that is maybe a bit more future-proof and has the perks of a digital job, but still creating an impact.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I really hope, like, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I really hope I can, in the future or in the next years, to keep connecting this digital world with the social sector, because I think we have so much to do in that way. So,
thank you so much for that. Thank you. Yeva, I now turn to you, because you were part of the kind of co-creation team of Women4IT, if you will, in Latvia. So you were one of the employers engaged in the elements, the curriculums, but you were also mentoring some of our trainees. So how was all of that experience for you?
I actually would like to start with that I believe that everyone who is here, we are on the same page, that we are lacking employees in a digital field. And yes, that is something how I actually got engaged and participate into all of these activities. Just because I'm coming from international company and we are 7,000 employees, and since I remember myself in the company, it will be soon 7 years since I'm there, that we are all the time hiring. We are all the time looking for someone, and we are looking, and sometimes it took almost a year when the recruitment process is actually happening. And from my perspective, I feel that, come on, there's something wrong. It's 1 year. And I would like to actually give a little bit insight about my background. I was kind of lucky one. Almost 15 years ago, I kind of chose to study IT. I graduated programming, but then I kind of quickly realized that there are other IT kind of areas. So I jumped in quality assurance. And yes, I was kind of like getting experience in the field, but I kind of quickly realized that there is actually massive gap between what we can get at the university and what is actually asked or expected from the employer side, from the professional workplace. So that was when I kind of stepped it up, and after my master degree graduation, I agreed to deliver quality assurance course at my university, and then I became involved in the Women4IT project, and then again I kind of realized that there is another gap because yeah, you're like participating in the project, you're getting the experience and so on, but of course it's kind of a first step. And then I see that there are kind of hungry, new kind of potential employees who want to kind of jump into IT field, but maybe you're not that experienced yet, and of course it's kind of natural. And there I actually kind of try to raise my voice. And in my company, right now we're having like the junior school. And that is kind of the natural step after you kind of finish the project. Then you are having possibility to join our junior school. And then there is the kind of way how you could kind of get the experience. And yes, that's for me kind of, I would like to also share one example what kind of happened during the 1 year period. We got one great candidate. She started, almost a year ago, and kind of she grew so fast. She's like top performer, and she also doubled her income. And by this, I want to kind of share that happened during that 1 year. Sometimes we are looking the 1 year for the best candidate. From the other hand, we could kind of grow one candidate. And you know what is most incredible in this? That is, guess who will be the next, who will raise the hand and will be ready to take the next junior profile in your team. So for me, it means like the world that we could kind of help. We could engage those two kind of parties together because, yeah, as I said, sometimes there is kind of mismatch. We're hardly, like from the employer side, we're hardly looking for the candidates. From other hand, I see that there is a potential outside. So, and yes, and I believe that that is what we are doing here. I believe that if we are kind of working together, we could help each other. And yes, I think we could make a difference. So yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm trying also to kind of actually challenge my colleagues because I'm sharing the examples. I'm trying to speak up, and I really like to involve like the young ladies in our company as well. So yes.
That's really wonderful, and I think we're all here to be a little more challenging, a little bit more pushy, a little bit of, this is also our space, so let's take the most out of it. And I think it's so important that you highlighted the role of how much freedom and liberty such a career change might give you. You mentioned, doubling your income, economic independence, but I remember chatting beforehand, and you also said that this lady that you were training, she now has more time to spend with her family. There's also like the commuting time, a lot of different things that we might not think immediately about, but it's really, it just improves the quality of life in a sense, and there's so much that one program can do. And I really feel that Women4IT might have that life-changing potential. So I want to ask you very briefly how Women4IT has changed your life. And Christina, I will start with you because I know you told me that you were currently, or just a bit ago, involved with a cyber warfare training, right? So you're getting very much into cybersecurity. How is that for you, and how's that linked to Women4IT?
At this point, I'm doing many things together. I was first being a cybersecurity analyst by IBM. I have been trained through the Coursera platform by myself in the self-mode. But apart from that, I was already working as a researcher in the Institute of International Relations as being a project coordinator in this field. So it was very familiar to me to continue by specializing in the cyber warfare field by the Lenin Air Force Academy and European Security Defense College. But I'm already applying these knowledges because in the company that I'm working, Mihoho, the non-profit organization that's helping women globally, I'm doing already as an ICT manager these kind of tasks. So by following this course, the project management, it literally changed my life because I have built all of these knowledges into the market, into the daily routine that you have if you want to work, into this chaos, because it's chaos when you want to work in so many projects together, and you know very well after a discussion that we had yesterday. So basically, if you have the fundamentals of these knowledges that you have gained from the program, you can try to build a better crisis management plan and following it up, build the better strategy that you could do. So basically, yes, it's very interesting that this course gave me a lot and it's being applied in the everyday life.
That is so great to hear. How about you, Ariadna?
I mean, right now we are developing some events offline and online. So when I was doing my course, I didn't know I'm gonna use these skills, but right now it's helping a lot. So I think the course was really nice, and now I am using this knowledge. So I think that's the proof that it's good and that I need it.
Thank you. And Eva, finally, how did Women4IT change your life?
Actually, today to be here, I see that there is a lot of happening, and yeah, I start to plan my next year in my head because yeah, there's a lot of things. But I actually want to mention that I'm still connected in a LinkedIn with the girls who kind of went through to the project. And then when I'm seeing that they are kind of having the certificates, that they are kind of stepping up, that is amazing, because that's what I already, and you already mentioned, that maybe the project is kind of first step, but it opens up for you a lot of opportunities. And as I also mentioned, at our company, we are having the junior school, but that also helps a lot to them to get into that junior school and then step up. So it makes a massive difference. And actually it is the hardest work, because it is sometimes very hard to get those kind of first skills, or like to be kind of brave enough to start with something. And when you're having the project like this, you're also having the community. And I'm always also saying for the women, like, please be active. Use that you're kind of here each for others, so you could share some things, because we're into this together. So yeah, it is life-changing. There's a lot of life-changing stories.
This is all so wonderful to hear, and I feel like we could be talking about it for days and ends. We've had so many informal conversations around this topic, and I highly encourage all of you to take the opportunity of our ladies being here with us today and ask them questions, try to figure out, learn more of their stories. We unfortunately have to wrap up here, but it's been a great privilege for me to be able to learn your stories, to have these connections, and to run this project. And of course, these are just 2-3 stories that we have right now with us. But as Mara said earlier today, there are 900 different stories, very individual, very peculiar stories that we have been sharing with you a little bit over different events and over our social media. But I do encourage you to reach out and try to find these stories as well and connect with our graduates. And also, if you're hiring, well, not these ladies specifically, but for Women4IT trainees that are still looking for a job. So here, a little pitch for all of our ladies here. Thank you so much. And I would ask for a round of applause to all of... Great job, and thank you very much. Last but not least, we have ahead of us a panel that is very exciting to me. Also, we have a lot of twisting chairs over here. It's very displeasing for me. We have a panel ahead of us that really focuses on the future. And I will not introduce our speakers. For this, I would ask Peter, our moderator, to come up on the stage and join us in introducing our panel. But before we go to that, I would like to ask our colleagues for the Slido slide, if we can have one up. Yes, a question to you, and feel free to use your phones right now. Also, people online, please jump in. This is your moment to interact with us a little bit and tell us, you know, we've been talking about what can be done, how can we rescale, how we can boost that diversity when it comes to gender, when it comes to women in technology. So what can we do? We already have some ideas, but we want to hear your ideas as well. So please do take the time to share it now or throughout the panel, have a little think, and share your views, your opinions over here, and we will be very happy to interact with that later on. And now, without further ado, I give the floor to Peter to introduce the rest of the panelists. Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Kasia. Thank you very much. I'm coming from All Digital. This is a European network organization with the mission of enhancing digital skills across Europe for everyone who needs to develop their digital skills. We have now 84 member organizations, and 3 of them are part of the Women4IT project. LICTA from Latvia, EOS from Romania, TechMT from Malta. Therefore, we have been really closely following the activities and the results of the project. And during our last All Digital Summit in Prague, we gave the opportunity, and we enjoyed the opportunity, to have a workshop on Women4IT and also plenary presentations on the project results. This panel is going to focus on a little bit looking beyond Women4IT, because there are many other initiatives that are successful and promote gender equality, promote greater involvement in women in the digital economy. There are initiatives like Esteem Fest and Communities, which was just mentioned in the previous plenary presentation, Womenpreneur Initiative, or the Cisco Women in Cybersecurity Boost campaign. So we invited 4 panelists to speak about their initiatives, from their perspective, from their sector, European Commission, the national level, the industry, and civil society. So I would like to invite to the stage Dana from the European Commission. She's online. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Armand from Cisco. Mary from the Irish National Coalition, Digital Skills Coalition. And Sana, who is the founder and CEO of Womenpreneur Initiative. And let me introduce the panelists a little bit. So Dana Adriana Puyamorel is a policy expert on entrepreneurial learning. She's supporting girls and women in STEAM. She's an internet coach and trainer on authentic leadership, and she works for the European Commission. Just yesterday with Dana, we had the opportunity to participate in the Being Entrepreneurial 2022 conference, and we celebrated the very first Entrecomp Awards to recognize individuals and organizations who demonstrated outstanding achievements on entrepreneurial, I would also say digital learning. Then we have Armand Gilles Leblois, he's the regional manager of Cisco Networking Academy, which probably you all know is having the mission of empowering all people with career possibilities, and I think it's one of the longest running digital skills program, and I know that you are celebrating 25 years of your impact. And then we have Mary Cleary. She is the Secretary General of the Irish Computer Society and the coordinator of the Digital Skills and Jobs National Coalition in Ireland. And we have also Sana Afwais with us. She's the founder and CEO of Women4IT initiative. I'm having a hard time to pronounce this, which is a non-profit organization based in Brussels, but you are very active also in Middle East and Northern African countries, and you have really great achievements. So I'm coming to you. And I would like to ask you to talk about your initiatives, but I would like to start with Dana, if I may. So Dana, very first, the floor is yours. Please tell us your initiatives you initiated or you've been involved in empowering women in the digital age, and also tell us why these initiatives, in your opinion, are so important today.
Thank you, Peter. I'm really happy to be here today. I'm sorry I have to be online, but you know, it's Wednesday and Wednesday schools finish at noon in Belgium, so I have some constraints. Yeah, indeed, I'm really happy to see you here again, Peter, and it looks like you know, it's not enough that we can talk about empowering women and girls. Yesterday, we talked about entrepreneurship a lot and to some extent about digital. So I'd like to start a little bit with why digital is important, because where I work, so I work in the European Commission in the SME policy unit, and we work to support entrepreneurs, in my case, women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship education. So we've had some progress to support, to cultivate all this entrepreneurial mindset. But with the pandemic, we realized that for the entrepreneurs, for the would-be entrepreneurs out there, digital has become part of their competence skill. It's needed, it's necessary. So we realize that for us, it's easy to say, okay, entrepreneurship, digital, or whatever other competencies we see there. But for the real citizens out there, it doesn't make sense. So then we said, okay, we have to put entrepreneurship and digital together. And Peter, I hope we did it successfully yesterday. So I'll tell you now that we started to create these programs where we want to equip people, in this case, women and girls, with digital and entrepreneurial competencies. And we work with the European Entrepreneurship Competence Framework, what we call EntreComp, and we work also with DIGComp, the European Digital Competence Framework. But this program that I have created, this is STEAM festivals, and STEAM is STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, arts, and we added entrepreneurship. So we created this word esteem. It's also a pun on words for self-esteem. And we have created these festivals where we offer some workshops, both for girls and for women, to empower them to have these competencies, so digital and entrepreneurial, to build their self-confidence, because we know this is an issue. Confidence in the skills that they have. So we try to build that. And we also try to encourage, and I'm sure you talked about it, I heard the previous panel, to encourage the study of science and technology and mathematics, so the study of it, and then careers in this area, because we know we don't have enough women in this area. So this program that I created, this is STEAM festivals. We try to go to different countries in the European Union. We offer these festivals to girls and to women. In girls, we go to schools. For women, it's like we bring them together in one safe space to offer these workshops. And then we also have an online platform, because in between these festivals, we wanted to keep the engagement and the learning. So we created also an online platform where we put some challenges. This morning, for instance, we had a very interesting webinar on building your self-worth and relationship with money. So we offer this kind of challenges and moments online, because we want to keep the engagement and we want to keep the community. And I'm sure you all here know how important it is to have a community for girls and for women. So that's what I'll stop here for now. So if you hear about these STEAM festivals, please join us, or let me know if you want to join. And I hope they will really make an impact on the girls and women out there.
And thank you, Dana. Thank you very much indeed. And I would like to have the same question, and please tell us your initiatives that your organization is doing, supporting women to equip them with the digital and entrepreneurial skills, and tell us why you think it's important. Arno, this is your mic.
Thank you. So, as you mentioned, we're celebrating 25 years of existence as the Cisco Networking Academy. And the Cisco Networking Academy was founded on an idea, on the premise that the digital transformation and the technological revolution isn't going to happen if it's not inclusive, and we don't provide the possibility for a maximum amount of people to be able to participate in a meaningful way. So since the beginning of our program, we have trained over 2 million women worldwide, 400,000 of which have been prepared for professional certification in cybersecurity, network administration, and programmability. We are, I'd say, somewhat proud of that. However, it only represents something like 23 or 24% of our total student base. So we still have a long way to go. And in Europe, it's even more so. Right? So I'm very happy to be, first of all, part of today's discussion, and I've heard some amazing things already this morning. But that's why I think it's important to us. We run a program worldwide called Women4IT, which is 4 sessions a year, where we basically put some leading figures in tech, and I think we're probably going to have some future invitees that I'd like to have a conversation with after today, in front of our student base and our viewers. It's around 2 million viewers since 2014. So we're trying to push this thought leadership, and we'll go into it probably in the discussion because we have some great panelists here today. There are, in our sense, some real structural issues that are preventing women from having a stronger presence in the IT sector. And there are some structural issues in terms of diversifying what being in the IT sector means. When we look today, I'm personally, I supervise the region, but I personally am responsible for Greece for personal reasons. But in any case, I'm married to a Greek woman, so therefore it's very personal. But so one of the things that we see, right, when we go to the different regions or municipalities, not only in Greece, around Europe, is that when we're talking about recovery funds and digital transformation, nobody really understands how are we going to make local businesses benefit. And local businesses are the ones who are going to be able to hire local women that we train with local entities. Not everybody's going to work at IBM. Right? So that's another one of the structural issues that as Europeans we're facing, is that we haven't diversified the access to this digital transformation to everybody who should become an employer of women tomorrow. So anyway, lots to discuss, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary? Thank you. Fascinating, and congratulations. They're fantastic numbers you have there, even though the proportions, you know, we all are focused on the proportions, and they're really important. The work that I've been involved in, both in ICS and through our Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition, I suppose is focused on the young people, the young women who are in education, because one of the issues that we see, of course, is that they're not opting for careers in IT. They seem to be diverted into different directions. And of course, there are all sorts of reasons for that. The initiatives that we're involved in work around empowering the young women to feel that they are, as we know, well capable of engaging in the technology sector and in any of the STEM areas. So we work with computational programs, computational thinking programs for young girls in schools. We introduce them to coding. We support coding initiatives, many of them. All of these come together in a tech week that we run every spring. We focus together the final events of a lot of the countrywide initiatives that we run. But I think that my personal interest in moving forward on this is to try and increase the success of all of the initiatives we're involved in, because, I mean, we mentioned dinosaurs a little bit earlier. I mean, I've been involved in educating young women since the 90s, you know, so I'm probably the biggest or the oldest dinosaur in the room. You know, the success rate of all of the effort we've put in is not very high. We're really working hard, and we're still talking about it. We're still, I mean, I've spoken at so many conferences about getting young women involved in technology, and we're still beating the same drum. So I think we need to change our tack, and we need to look a little bit, we need to look at policy, and we need to look at social norms and social structures, and we need to look at what it is that is keeping young women out of technology. But I think, I mean, I had a conversation with Maria last night. And Maria made a great point that we're not focusing on the successful women. We're not looking at the women who have really, really done well. And we're not taking advantage of that. They don't have to be CEOs or presidents of companies. They just have to be women who are successful, who are enjoying their jobs, they're having a good life because they're working in the tech sector. And I also think that a very important point for us is to change the narrative that we're giving to young women. We've got to stop saying the tech sector hasn't got enough people, so we need you. We only need you because there's not enough people. We haven't got enough men, so what will we do? Let's get the women in. That's not the right message. That doesn't make anybody feel good about themselves. So the message has got to be not that, you know, the tech sector is going to fall down because we haven't got enough people in it, so you've got to come in. But it's got to be, this is for you, and this is going to be the key to your life. And I think Women4IT has done that. This is the key to your success and your fulfillment and your happiness. And I think that's the only way that we're going to manage to change what's going on.
Thank you very much. Sana, tell us about Womenpreneur initiative.
Thank you. Well, Womenpreneur was born out of frustration. After working for many years for international organizations, I felt that there was something missing in terms of creating an initiative that targets local needs of local women. I started in the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa. I come from there myself. And if you see, the MENA region is usually treated as a one group region when it's full of diversity, different realities, different dreams, different challenges at the same time. And it has been always kind of treated in a certain way because of the political background and the cultural, religious, common point between the countries in the region. But the interesting thing is that in the MENA region, it has the highest number of women studying STEM in the world, at a level of 65%. So I decided to come to Belgium, to Brussels. People ask me why. I keep saying it's because of the waffles and the fries and the beer. And I was I've been to Brussels many times because I had contracts and so on, but I never really lived and explored the local neighborhoods. Then when I did, I was like really, really shocked because there are so many similarities with the countries from the south. And also I was very shocked to know that there are less than 13% of women studying STEM in Belgium. So since then, our work in the MENA region feeds our work here in Europe and vice versa as well. So what we do at Womenpreneur is we work on lifting women out of poverty through technology and entrepreneurship education. If you don't know, half of the female population in the world is disconnected. So that in itself is a problem. Because today, access to technology, access to internet is a must. It is the tool. It's like being illiterate if you don't know how to manipulate technology, if you cannot use internet. So this is very frustrating from one hand. The second hand is that we do live in evolving societies. New jobs appear on a daily basis. So that means that we need to be part of this revolution, and we need to make sure women are not the consumer of technology, but they are the producer of technology. As we see today, it's very alarming. Look at Belgium, for instance. During COVID, women have lost a lot of jobs because they are doing most of the jobs that are impacted by the crisis of COVID. They end up without a job at the moment, and they don't have the right trainings to actually get a job in the current market. And basically one thing that we noticed is that Belgium has produced its recovery plan, like the rest of the EU member states. And it's a document of over 700 pages. I read it one by one, and I was very shocked to actually read the document that is representing the recovery plan of Belgium, and then seeing that women are treated as minority. When we are talking about 50.3% of the population of Belgium. Then I looked into entrepreneurship and technology because that's my expertise. And even the language that has been used is not inclusive. We are talking to a businessman. We are talking to a male entrepreneur. we were like, okay, we need to do something about it. So we ran a 6-month research. We interviewed more than 100 women across Brussels in all the communes, and then we decided to rewrite the recovery plan with the female perspective. Then we invited all the ministers, all the cabinets, and then we did a presentation. And they were like really shocked because it was not intentional to exclude women or to consider women as a minority. But because of the stereotypes that are ingrained in our minds, we don't consider women as an actor of change when we come up with recovery plans during times of crisis. So, I mean, there were very positive results out of that. One of them is that the Minister of Entrepreneurship and Economy, alongside with the State Secretary of Gender and Inclusion, they have put a fund for women entrepreneurs. It's still small, 350,000, but nevertheless, it's a good start. And we were very happy to see that actually our recovery plan kind of pushed a little bit of political action. And also, our objective was to kind of remind Belgium that in 2008, when we had the financial crisis, Belgium had to cut down its budget and invest in certain sectors like mobility, industrial sectors, to make sure that they kind of, face the financial crisis. But the budget that was cut, it was in the sectors where women were active on the most. So that basically has created a job and employment among women, and that's where we've seen in Belgium the rise of female entrepreneurship, which is female entrepreneurship of necessity, not of choice, which make them survival entrepreneurs. So to come back to the topic of technology, we at Womenpreneur, we have supported so far 16,000 women across 23 countries. We're very proud to work in Belgium, in the MENA region, but also in the Mediterranean countries. We have launched in 2020 an initiative called the Mediterranean Tech Women Network, which is basically an intergenerational network where we support women who are in technology or interested in technology. Our objectives, we have 4. The first one is to create a mentorship, intergenerational mentorship programs for women, where a woman in Spain who is the CEO of a big company could become a mentor for a woman in Tunisia who is starting her career in technology. Second objective is to bring more investment into women tech-led startups, led companies. At the end of the day, if you really want to support women, you need to invest in women. You need to give money to women. We don't see that yet. In the whole world, only 2% of investment go to women. So there is a serious problem. Unless we put more money into this, we're going to exclude, this discrimination and this exclusion of women. Trust me. The third objective is to put up gender digital policies, to push our government to actually have inclusive policies to kind of face this digital revolution and make sure that women are the heart of this revolution. And the last is to really create role models. You can only become when you see people who are, look like you. And diversity not only in gender, but also cultural background. I mean, sometimes you could, imagine yourself sitting in a room where you are the outsider or the only one who is different. Trust me, you will not feel comfortable. So unless we push more, women, give them visibility like this event today, the more we'll see them in technology.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sana. And you kind of answered my next question already, what the civil society can do and how you can influence policy making and better policies for your cause. I would like to ask a similar question from Dana, and it's an easy one, right? What can the European Union, the European Commission do in fostering gender diversity and equality in the digital economy? What works well? What can be improved? And also, how do you see the cooperation between different actors, industry, national government, civil society, and the Commission? Thank you, Dana.
All right, difficult question, I guess. Look, we all try to do what we can with the budget that we have, with the constraints, or let's say resource constraints that you have. If you'd ask me, I'd like to reach out to all the girls and women out there and help them. So that's why when we design program with the budget that we have, we try to put like a peer-to-peer component so that the ones that we train, the ones that we reach out can in turn reach out to other girls and other women. So we try to work with that. And I really believe in this peer support, especially for young girls, when they listen to me, different when they listen to one of their peers. So we try to do that. And of course, we try to cooperate with governments. I don't need to tell you, hopefully, we commission, we rely on the government and we try to convince governments to put policies in place. But if you were to ask me, I really believe in the coaching, training, mentoring, this kind of initiatives out there. So wherever you see my name, you'll know that there is something related to this education, this educational factor, because it really works. You just have to create a safe space and to offer these competencies and then to empower girls and women to use these competencies and to, achieve their full potential. And it's something that Mary said. Yes, it's about achieving their full potential. It's not because, we don't have enough girls and women. We try to say that to kind of hook the girls and women, but it's not that. It's to achieve their full potential. They can do it. And in one of my events, I asked them to draw a scientist. And I said, how is it? Is it the old man with glasses and a beard, a little bit looking like Einstein? Or is it a girl? When you draw a scientist, can you put some long hair and a skirt? Like, why not? So I really believe in this. So when we do initiatives at the European Commission, we partner with the training organization, the coaching NGOs and coaches that are out there to deliver this program. So I truly believe in partnership. We cannot do it. I cannot do it myself. I would be happy to go and train girls and the women. And also one thing to be said about role models. We've been trying for a while at the Commission, and other people have tried to show these role models, because you have to see it to believe it. You have to show the scientists out there. And for instance, when I speak, I look for even scientists from 200 years ago. There are some that are women. And we need to show this, but there's not enough. So we are thinking that probably we're going to put another program or to look for these role models and to broadcast them, to do a media campaign, to show them, because girls need to see them, women need to see them and to identify with them. So we need a few more of these. So yeah, all these initiatives have to be done in partnership. We cannot do it alone. So I'll end by inviting you out there, come and reach out to us at the Commission, to me. Reach out to me if you have something to offer, because I'm sure we can co-create this and make it work. I really believe in co-creation.
Thank you. Mary, I would like to ask your experience about cross-sector collaboration, because basically the National Skills and Job Coalition are really based on the collaboration of different sectors and stakeholders. How does it work, and how do you see the role of the different actors? What can you do at national level? Can you speak into the mic, please? Thank you.
I'm forgetting. Yes. Yes, the coalition, of course, is a coalition of different stakeholders and representing different sectors of society, and they try to come together to support each other. I think in my experience with the coalition in Ireland, it's an organisation that provides support and encouragement to the collaborators and to the stakeholders who are delivering their own initiatives. What it tries to do is to make sure that each of the stakeholders is aware of what the others are doing, so that the total delivery and the total programs that are available to address everything to do with digital skills and jobs, it's not only the women issue, but that it's all coordinated and that there's as little duplication as possible, so that we can have, concrete actions. When I'm talking to the coalition, I try to provide that level of support and to make sure that there is this level of awareness, but I also really emphasize how important it is that it's not only the work that they're doing. but it's the ideas that they're espousing and the ideas that they're trying to promote across society and to government, national government, at European level as well. Because I think that all of the initiatives and all of the money that we can spend and that we can put against this problem, they're worth nothing if we don't look at what the barriers are and why are they not being successful. And a lot of this is to do with subtle media messages. We talked about this at our last coalition meeting. The messages that are being given to young women from the media, from their friends, even from their education. And it's not intentional to put women down. But coming up to Christmas now, we'll all be going around the shops. Go into the toy section of any shop and you'll see that there's a pink aisle and there's a blue aisle. And anything that's mechanical or technological will be in the blue aisle. There'll be a little bit of a few minor things in the pink aisle, but the serious stuff will all be in the blue aisle. And that's the start of it. Look at the fancy ads we're seeing on television for Christmas, these famous Christmas ads that bring tears to people's eyes because they're so touching. But you'll see the role models in the families. You'll see the mother's role and you'll see the father's role. You'll see this, it's just hammering home to young girls all the time that their role is domestic and their role is different from the male role. Of course it's different, it's changed and it's changing, but it's far too slow. So I'm gone off the point, you asked me about the coalitions, but I think that because there are so many stakeholders involved in the coalitions, and because they're representing industry, academia, government, social enterprises, schools, I think if they can start thinking about how this is affecting young women and their choices and their levels of success, I think that's something very powerful that they can do.
Thank you very much. And Anna and I have a question for you. We have heard about Women4IT project. There are several similar other initiatives. What do we have to do to make sure that the impact is not fading away, but they continue so we can exploit them, we can scale them out, so we can really take advantage of the impact and the results of these projects and initiatives? What do we have to do for that?
So first of all, I'd like to highlight everything that was just said as being so fundamental. And there's one word that you said that for me, it makes me cringe every time I hear it. It's duplication. Duplication. I'm going to take off my Cisco hat for a second. I'm going to put my European citizen hat because I am a proud European. The number of times that I see this company, 10,000 women trained in Spain in the next 10 years, and then 2 weeks later, another company in the same sector, 10,000 women. Stop. Stop. Enough. At some point, you have IBM, Cisco, AWS, big companies that manage huge budgets, that have tremendous potential to provide content, to provide access to employers, to provide access to even thought leadership. One of the reasons why we're so low today in the IT sector is because for a long time in Europe, the IT sector was privileged hunting ground for vocational schools. How many women and young girls have been pointed to the vocational school track in Europe? How many? Never, essentially, is the answer. Never. Never. Not for IT anyway. So you go to the Netherlands, right, which is regarded, or Germany, which is regarded as a very successful model of how vocational schooling can challenge the traditional, you need a big university degree to get into the IT sector. How many girls in there, right? So the first thing is we need to be strong-armed a little bit, the private sector, to be led to deliver the impact where it's important. And national coalitions play a huge role. This is why Ireland is one of the more successful EU countries, I must say, in terms of coordinating. There are a lot of other countries who could learn from what's going on in Ireland, in my personal opinion. That's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, we also have a role model role to play. So we're very proud at Women at Cisco, which is over 4,800 members worldwide. And to your point, these are not super rocket scientists. These are successful women with a great work-life balance who work from home on Wednesday and go to work on Thursday, who travel if they want on Friday but are back with the kids on the weekend, right? Who can volunteer in their community, who can move forward in their career, who can network, who can speak, all these things, right? We're not trying to create superwoman, we're just trying to create successful woman who enjoys her life, right? And so our job, and this is what Women at Cisco is doing really well now, is to put these women in front of as many other women as possible, or young women who are coming up through the ranks, right, and studying. And that's my last point. One of the organizations that I really like working with, that we've worked in the past with, is Green Light for Girls. And we've worked with them in Spain, in particular in Andalusia, where we did a tremendous event. It was just pre-COVID, so we've been kind of on pause because presential has been a bit of a problem, as everyone understands. But we had something like 11,000 girls participating in 5 different sites in Andalusia, doing exercises together, learning together at labs, at universities. And again, breaking down this myth, right? And the demystification is so essential. And it brings me to my last point, which is the word flexibility, right? If we're gonna talk about getting women from the adult reskilling population into jobs in tech, the accessibility and flexibility of the learning paths is fundamental, because a lot of them are either already employed or already have some sort of responsibility that means that, guess what, I'm not gonna be able to go to your school every night for 2 hours. It's just never gonna happen. So one of the things that we've done as Cisco to kind of branch out, because we realized how much of potential learners we were losing in this space, was to launch a new platform called Skills for All, where we migrated all of our entry-level and intermediate-level content to cell phone-based learning. Because the idea, and it's based around real-life examples in my wife's home city of Volos, right? We work with young women who are working right now in bakeries. What do they get? They get maybe 15 minutes of a cigarette break every day, right? And work maybe 11 hours. 15 minutes on the cell phone, a little bit every day. It's going to demystify how difficult it is to actually get a certification in cyber, because they're going to get digital badges as they progress on their own time, whenever they can, wherever they want. And if we don't provide that flexibility, there are, I think, tens, maybe not hundred thousands of talents that we're never going to be able to bring into the industry, never going to be able to bring into inspiring roles for other women. So I would say, if I can sum it up, don't duplicate. Be a role model, follow the national coalitions, and if you are providing courses, be flexible and accessible. If you're not flexible and accessible, you're missing the point.
I think you just summarized the manifesto. I would like to ask participants if you have any questions to any of our panelists, please. This is your time. Please raise your hand, or I don't know if from online participants if we have any questions. If not, maybe we can take a look at the question Kasia was asking at the beginning of the session.
There is a question here in the room.
Yes. Just a moment.
In shortly, can you mention the national partners, maybe that you're expanding in your networking cooperations and educational level opportunities in order to train young women to join in these programs? Because we have a huge gap, and it's very important to have the industry working with us.
Of course, of course. In any country in particular, or just general?
In general.
Okay,
yeah.
so if you look from country to country, that's the brilliant thing about the Cisco Networking Academy. If I put on the Cisco hat, this is what makes us so great. We have really emphasized on being agnostic. So if you go today, for example, in France, we are in the technical high schools. We're in all the technical universities of the country. If you go to the Netherlands, we're in 95% of the vocational schools. Same thing again in most of the German landers. If I go to Greece, for example, today, I work with Hellenic American Union. I work with OTE Academy, right? We also work with the Scientific College of Greece based out of Athens. The idea is now to work with the municipalities directly to leverage some of the reskilling opportunities there. But we also work with the Hellenic Armed Forces. We work with NGOs throughout the European space. This is, and if I can, I know there's a question of, if there's one thing we could ask for or something, I think that's coming at the end. Partnership. Partnership. We are here, and it's not just us, right? And the Digital Skills Working Group of Digital Europe, and a big thank you to Digital Europe for continuing to beat the drum of having to work together. There are a lot of people who are just looking to partner with local actors, with actors that reach even beyond the European region into MENA, et cetera, et cetera. They're here and they're available. What they don't have sometimes is the ability to work the soft skills angle, the experience to be able to reach out to local women in different contexts. This is where they must learn and be accompanied. So, in short, pretty much any actor you can imagine, and we're looking for more.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Okay. How can we encourage more men to promote this agenda as a priority rather than just an afterthought? Who would like to answer this? Sana? Thank you.
I didn't get my second question.
Thank you.
I will give an example of why, if we really want to kill the evil, we need to look into its roots instead of looking into its branches. Google, in 2014, I will give a Google example after. Amazon, in 2014, they have developed a platform, an AI platform, to facilitate selection of different candidates. So, using technology to facilitate recruitment. I mean, a company like Amazon receives thousands and thousands of CVs. So, why not using technology to facilitate this human, task? What happens is that afterwards, Google noticed that at a rate of 90% of the candidates that are selected are actually men, white men. So this shows that the person who created the technology at the end of the day is a human. So we have our thoughts, we have our perceptions, we have our ideas about the gender, about women, about ourselves. And without even having the intention to discriminate, we do transform those biases into technologies. Technologies to this day, at least, they are still tools. We have yet to wait for, thinking machine technologies. So that's why it's super important to work on the mindsets, to make sure that we do create a mindset where we view our humanity and our future in a collective way. I keep saying to people that you should not underestimate the power that you have on a daily level. Our actions, our thoughts, do form our cultures, our societies, and our future. And unless each one of us, not only men, because it's not the responsibility of men only to change their mindset, it's a collective work that we need to do, and to question ourselves on a daily basis. I mean, we are product of society at the end of the day, and we do think in a certain way because of our cultural genes. So unless we do that hard work of really questioning ourselves, we are not going to move on. That's the beginning of the work that we should do.
Thank you very much. I think our time is running up, but I still do have one more question, but I would like to have very short answers from you. If there is a wish, just one thing that you would like to see being taken in order to achieve greater gender equality in digital economy, what would that be? Dana, would you like to answer this question first?
Yes, thank you. And it's actually what I was going to say on the previous question. My answer is to promote the growth mindset. It's for girls, somebody say, oh, you're a girl, you cannot do this. To promote the growth mindset, that girls can be leaders too, and to talk to boys about girls being leaders. So for me, the solution is the growth mindset. To go out there and do it and put effort into it, and to see as many girls and women do it.
Thank you, Dana. Mary, what would you say?
I totally agree with that. I think it's really important. And again, it is also linked to the question that you answered so beautifully. We need to talk to boys as well as talking to girls. But I think overall, the most important thing is to have coordination and collaboration so that we're all working together for this, and we're not so fragmented, that we're all working with the same objective in mind, and that we try to address the wider social attitudes and social messaging that's undermining a lot of the very hard work that we're doing.
Thank you, Mary. Arno, what is your wish?
If I can be very pragmatic and down to earth, the exercise that was carried out in Belgium for the recovery funds, we should do that in every single EU country. The time is right now. If we miss this train, it's finished. So we should do this exactly every single country.
Sana, you are the example and the role. The final word is yours then.
Since I am greedy, I have two wishes. The first one, the day we stop asking women to make a balance between their professional life and personal life. Women don't make children alone, at least not yet. So that's a shared responsibility. The second, walk the talk, put your money where your mouth is. Unless I see investment in women running startups, in women's education, training, in supporting women to be leaders, by then we can see a real change in the tech field. So these are my two wishes.
Thank you very much, Sana, Mary, Dana, and Arno. Thank you very much for your participation and contribution. Big applause. Thank you. And maybe we can just take a look, or maybe you can do it at the closing, during the closing on the previous question. Thank you very much again.
One more time. What a fantastic panel. I was sitting over there and just had my jaw down here, listening to everything, these call to actions and all these ideas. They were truly, truly fascinating. I think before we move to the closing remarks, we can quickly take a look on what other people said. So we had a very strong call to action for investments and really putting the money onto education and entrepreneurship of women. We talked a lot about the mindset that we need to create, the way we communicate, not only to women and the images that we create for women, but also to the whole society, and how changing this mindset is a shared responsibility. So what else did you say? Let's take a look. National reskilling programs would be a good implementation. Creating an inclusive environment, and again, that's always a shared responsibility. I would add, maybe from my perspective, if you are an organization or a leader of an organization, that's something to definitely keep in mind in your structure. Promote different communities, having a national strategy, and what Sana has created is wonderful. So I will reiterate that message after Sana and Arno, that it would be lovely, it would be absolutely fantastic to have a similar approach in other countries. More funding, and I champion that message a lot. Motivating salaries, so really looking at that equal pay. Starting education in preschool, so of course we're talking a lot about young women, we're talking about different types of reskilling, we're talking about a workplace, but also it starts very early on. So we talked a bit about vet education, we talked a bit about high school, but if we start with young kids, and if we give them that mindset teachings and that knowledge and those skills already very early on, probably the lines will blur a bit more as well. I can also see learning on how to learn, which is such a valuable skill and maybe something to keep in mind for later on. And what else? Building trust, then more focused on IT in schools that we've already mentioned. So many good ideas, so many things to incorporate in further projects, in further initiatives, build up on what our panelists have said already. and work on this together. You know, you heard about Women4IT initiative and how we use our methodologies. You've heard all about the other initiatives that our speakers have mentioned, be it the European Commission, be it the civil society. I really hope, or the industry as well, I really hope that initiatives like this will not be created further from frustration, but from the place of growth and really wanting to make sure that we participate equally and that we have those chances. And again, that is not the reason why that we are missing specialists. We are an afterthought as women, but really it's something that can be beneficial and good and useful and will create a more equal and just society, not only in terms of gender, but also different layers that overlap here. So this is the message that I will leave you with for today. But before we go, I want to do two things. First of all, I want you to jump on the Slido once more, and we want to get a little bit on your feedback. You told us a bit more on the content. We want you to evaluate the Women4IT initiative, if you will. So we have just a couple of questions on how relevant do you think Women4IT initiative is as a project? I'm very happy to see that already there's like some very important. After what you've learned already today, what you've heard throughout the session, what you learned from other discussions. I can see that we're saying on the important side, so that makes me very, very happy. And probably it makes a very happy our EA Norway grants funder, because they're, at the end of the day, are putting money into this initiative, and we're all very happy to see the success of it. If we can go to the next question, please. Do you think Europe needs more initiatives like Women4IT or other initiatives that we mentioned before in the future? And I see a very strong yes. Of course, we're talking about Women4IT because this is the focus of today's conference, but also really initiatives that promote equal participation in tech of women. I don't see any no's or any I didn't know, so I'm very happy with that. I think we're very much on the same page in this room and online, so that makes me very, very happy. And hopefully we can use also the snowball effect to make sure that other people think the same way, but also act on it. And then last but not least, what is one thing that Women4IT could improve in future iterations? You mentioned it a little bit in the beginning, you mentioned a little bit in previous conversations in your questions. I remember we touched upon emerging technologies a little bit more. We touched upon making sure that we're assessing the needs, the current market needs, compared to what we did before 4 years ago, so focusing a little bit more on cyber. But I can see more points coming in. So looking at women in different ages, that's true that our project focuses on women between the 18 and 29 years of age, but really the solutions and everything that we have been doing can be scaled up not only for different ages, but for different genders, different cultural backgrounds. So that's something definitely to consider in the future. Get men involved, so it takes two to tango. Absolutely, we're happy to have guys on board. Of course, that's also on our side to get them involved, but also on the men's side to stay involved with us. Focusing on more geographical scope, different age groups that we've mentioned, more publicity to projects like that. I really wish, so let's focus on that in future iterations. Including youth civil societies as norms, expand to more countries. This is something that we're really hoping for, that you take these solutions, everything that you've learned about Women4IT, the resources that we've created, and work together with us to scale the Women4IT project or a similar initiative, not only in where we've done it already, where we've done it so far, but go to your countries, your local communities, your regions, and really talk to organizations, talk to different stakeholders, collaborate, and implement initiatives like that, that at the end of the day aim to empower women and building a just society that we all, I hope for. So this is it. I can see that there's a lot of new ideas coming in, and we will take all of that on board. In the meantime, I think the time has come for us to finish the conference. Thank you all very, very much for coming, taking the time. Thank you to the partners that have delivered it for so long, for the last 4 years. Thank you to our wonderful trainees who made it all the way to Brussels to share their stories. Thank you to all the speakers and panelists that have come and shared their ideas for a better and more fair future. And I'm really hoping that all of this can come together very, very soon. So thank you so much, and a big round of applause to all of you for making the effort and coming here and pushing this agenda forward. So, way to go. Thank you so much.